Okay, let's be honest, if I told you in 2014 that the guy from The Matrix, who let's face it hadn't had a massive hit in a decade, was going to star in a low-budget indie movie about a retired guy who goes on a 100-person killing spree because of his dog, well, you probably wouldn't have believed me. But here we are, 4 movies, $1 billion in the box office later, and one very high body count. John Wick didn't just save Keanu's career, it saved the entire action genre from a very, very shaky place. Today we're looking at how a movie that every studio in Hollywood rejected became the gold standard for every action film made since. To understand why John Wick is a miracle, you must understand where Keanu was at this stage. People thought he was done, but then came the script. It was originally called Scorn, and the main character was an 80-year-old man. Think Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, but with a lot more grudges. Well, Keanu got the script and loved it, and what did he do? Well, he called up his old buddies Chad and David. Now these guys weren't directors, they were stuntmen. Chad was Keanu's stunt double on The Matrix. So now let's reflect on that story outline and the puppy Daisy, the most important beagle in cinematic history. Studios were terrified of this scene and this element. They told the directors, you can't kill the dog, it'll alienate the audience because it's too dark. Well, Chad and Dave's response, the dog is the entire movie, and they were actually right, because when you see a guy like John Wick, who's lost everything, get his one last link to his late wife taken away, well, you don't just want him to win, you want him to do exactly what he does, and that is burn the entire city down to the ground. Now here's where the fun starts. Keanu Reeves is 50 at this point. Most actors at 50 years of age are looking for a nice dad role or a rom-com to star in, but not Keanu. He decided to keep going, and he even decided to do 90% of the stunts himself. Do you remember the legendary nightclub fight? Well, he memorised the entire choreography the day it was shot. Oh, and did I mention that he almost had a 104-degree fever on that day? He was literally sweating through his suit between takes, probably hallucinating, yet still hitting every single mark. That's not a hitman, guys, that's a superhero actor. Now let's talk about the John Wick look, and that's the look of the film, not the look of the character. Before 2014, action movies had a bit of a problem. It was the era of shaky cam, you know the one, the camera vibrating like it's had 10 espressos, and there were 45 cuts to a 10-second fight. You didn't know in these scenes if the hero punched the villain, or whether he just aggressively slapped or waved at him. But Chad and Dave looked at that and they said, no, we're going to do the opposite. So they used wide shots, long takes, because they wanted the audience to see the work that was put in and to see the action of the fights. If you haven't seen the footage of Keanu at the shooting range, well, he's actually pretty terrifying. He's not just acting, he actually knows how to shoot and he knows how to clear a room. He's faster than most professional competitive shooters out there. The crew had a nickname for him on set, and that was the Machine, because while the stuntmen were swapping out every few hours, well, Keanu, he just kept going. He's there covered in fake blood, probably still thinking about the next ice bath, and he's still out running the guys half his age. And then we have the legend, the character legend that is. You know the one, the line said like, I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil.
He once killed 3 men in a bar with
a pencil. I know, I've heard the story, sir.
With a fucking pencil!
In the first movie, it's just a scary story, but by the sequels, the fans were actually begging for scenes like this. So what did the directors do? Well, they made it a reality. They had to actually choreograph a pencil fight like it was a sword, a duel. Pretty ridiculous, really, and absurd, but that's John Wick. But it's not just the fighting and action within this film series that make it so special, it's also the vibe. Think of the Continental, a hotel for assassins where the rules are absolute, no business on the grounds. It's basically a 5-star resort for the world's most dangerous people. And then check out the concierge, Charon, played by the legendary Lance Reddick. His name is a total geek egg. He's in Greek mythology, Charon is the guy who ferries souls across the River Styx. But in this movie, he's the guy who checks you into a hotel where you're probably going to meet your maker. See what they did there? By the time we hit chapter 3 of this series, the directors basically said, how many weird things can we make Keanu do? The answer was all of them. We're talking horse foo, Horse fights through the streets of Brooklyn. We're talking Belgian Malinois dogs that weren't CGI, who he was fine with. They were just trained for months to treat stuntmen like chew toys. And then when we move into chapter 4, if you haven't seen the top-down Dragon's Breath sequence, stop this video, go watch it, come back. But it looks like a video game come to life. But they built that entire set and choreographed it in one continuous flow. And then the even crazier part is by this 4th film, Keanu is now nearly 60. Most people his age are worried about their retirement accounts. He's worried about how to fall down the 222 steps of the Sacré-Cœur in Paris, multiple times that is, and still make it look good. And that is John Wick commitment. So what's the overall legacy? Well, it's called the Wick effect. It proved that audiences appreciated the craft. We don't always want 1,000 cuts, we often want to see the actor, the sweat and the struggle. John Wick is the ultimate underdog story when we think about it. A movie that nobody wanted, made by stuntmen who weren't directors, and starring an actor who was way past his prime. It's proof that if you have a simple story, a lot of heart and a world-class team that cares, you can change the world of cinema. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm Paul, and I'll see you next time.